So here's another example of definitional communism. Like they say, oh my God, Kamala Harris is a communist. Well, when you're telling on yourself, brothers and sisters, when you say that, that means A, I don't know what communism means, and B, I don't have any idea what's going on in American politics. Kamala Harris is a corporatist. That's her problem. Not that she's a communist. She's on the other end of the spectrum, right? The idea that Kamala Harris would come into office and say, that's it, there's no more private property. We're going to take all of your homes and it's now government property, all your cars, etc. She was not going to get within 1 billion miles of that. Her donors would never allow her to get within 1 billion miles of that. That is so preposterous that when you say something like that, it's disqualifying. Like, I can't debate someone who thinks that Democrats are communists when they're actually largely corporatists. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, so let's go there. So when people call her a communist, they're usually referring to certain kinds of policies. So do you think, I think it's a ridiculous label to assign to Kamala Harris, especially given the history of communism in the 20th century and what those economic and political policies have led to, the scale of suffering that led to. And it just degrades the meaning of the word, right? But to take that seriously, why is she not a communist? So you said she's not a communist because she's a corporatist. Okay. But that can't be, okay, everybody in politics is a corporate. Almost everybody in politics is a corporate. But that doesn't mean the corporations have completely bought their mind. They have an influence on their mind on issues that matter to those corporations.
Yep.
Right? Outside of that, they're still thinking for the voters because they still have to win the votes.
Barely.
Okay.
So here, let me give you examples so you see what I'm saying. So if you just wanted votes, you would do a lot of what Tim Walz did, okay? And by the way, a lot of what Bernie did, that's why Bernie, who had no media coverage, went from like 2% in 2015 to by the end about 48%, because he was just doing things that were popular, right? And that American people wanted, et cetera, right? Because he's not controlled by corporations. By the way, neither is Tom Massey on the right-wing side, on the Republican side, right? So it's not all, that's why I always say almost all, right? So if you're doing things that are popular, people love it. So today, what would Kamala Harris do if she actually just wanted to win, right? So number one, she would try to pass paid family leave right now. Why? It polls at 84%, and even 74% of Republicans want it. Why? Because it says, hey, when you have a baby, you should get 12 weeks off. Bond with your baby. Right now, in a lot of states that don't have paid family leave, you have to go back to work the very next day, or you have to use all of your sick days, all your vacation days, just to have 1 or 2 weeks with your baby, right? So conservatives love paid family leave. Liberals love paid family leave. That's why it polls so high. So why isn't she proposing it? It's not in our economic plan. Tim Walz already passed it in Minnesota. He showed how easy it was. If you want votes, and then you know what's going to happen if you propose paid family leave. The Republicans are going to go, no! Our beloved corporations don't want to spend another dollar on moms, right? And they fall for that trap. And then you're in an infinitely better shape. So why doesn't she do it? She doesn't do it because her corporate donors don't want her to do it. $15 minimum wage, layup. Over 2/3 of the country wants it because it not only gives you higher wages for minimum wage folks, but it pushes wages up for others. And what do the elites say? Oh, that's going to drive up inflation. Oh, you shouldn't get paid anymore. Wait, hold on. So you're saying all the other prices should go up, but the only thing that shouldn't go up is our wages? No, our wages should go up, okay? So these are all easy ones. Here's another one, anti-corruption. Why isn't she running on getting money out of politics? It polls at over 90%. Why isn't Trump running on it anymore? He won when he ran on it in 2016. He didn't mean a word of it, but he ran on it. It was smart. They don't do it because their corporate donors take their heads off if they do it.
So in contradiction to that, why did she propose to raise the corporate tax rate from 21% to 28%?
Because that's easy, because that is something that's super popular, and she's not going to do it. That's why. So guys, this is where I break the hearts of Blue MAGA. Blue MAGA thinks, oh my God, these Democrats, they're angels, and the right wingers and the Republicans are evil, and they work for big business, but not Kamala Harris, not Joe Biden, right? Okay, well, Donald Trump took the corporate tax rate from 35% to 21%. So that's trillions of dollars that got transferred. Because, guys, you got to understand, if the corporations don't pay it, we have to pay it. Because we're running up these giant deficits, and eventually either they're going to, not eventually, they keep raising our taxes in different ways that you're not noticing. They keep increasing fees and fines and different ways for the government to collect money. So we're paying for it. And on top of that, eventually they're going to cut your Social Security and Medicare because they're going to say, oh, we don't have any options left anymore. Yeah, you don't have any options left anymore because you kept giving trillions of dollars in tax cuts to corporations. So we're going to have to pay for that. So then Biden says, oh my God, I'm going to bring corporate taxes back up to 28%. I'm like, wait, hold on. They were at 35. You already did a sleight of hand and said 28. Okay. Then he gets into office and Manchin says, no, 25. That's the highest I'll go. And he goes, okay, fine, 25. And then while you're not looking, they just dump it. They don't even do 25. It's still at 21. So hear me now, quote me later. I do predictions on the show all the time because you should hold me accountable. You should hold all your pundits accountable. Yeah. If you held all your pundits accountable, we'd be the last man standing, and that's kind of what happened. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I guarantee you she will not increase corporate taxes.
So would the same be the case for price controls or the anti-price gouging that she's proposing?
So it's not price controls, it's price anti-price gouging.
It is price controls, but I mean minimum wages price controls also.
Now we're going to get into a lot of minutia, but I'll try to keep it broad. So price controls are a disaster. They never work. If you say, oh, here's a banana, it has to stay at $1 a pound, make up a number, right? Well, supply and demand is going to move. And then and so the minute it moves to $2 where the price should be, then you're going to run into shortages. So we all know this. It's a bad idea, right? But are there laws against price gouging? There already are, and they're a good idea. So why? Like you have a natural disaster, all of a sudden the water that was $1, now they're charging $100. The government has to come in, democratic capitalism. They come in and go, no, I'm going to protect the people. So you're not allowed to price gouge. You know, maybe you charge $2, et cetera, but you're not going to charge $100. But it is temporary. We get that done. We end the problem there, and then we bring it back to a normal supply and demand. Okay, so that's what she's proposing. That's all political because the price gouging has already passed. They did it in 21 and 22, and so now the grocery stores are actually a low margin business. She says grocery stores. That's how I know she doesn't mean it, because the grocery stores weren't the problem. Consumer goods were the problem. Yeah. Those companies.
She's following the polls where most people will say that the groceries are too expensive. So she's just basically saying the most popular thing. Yeah.
100%. And you could tell in which proposals she means it and which proposals she doesn't because of the framing, right? So this is a mediocre example, but in housing, she said, we have to stop private equity from buying houses in bulk. I'm like, curious that they put the word in bulk there. Why does it have to be in bulk? Why don't we just stop them from buying any residential home? Like you could set up normal boundaries, right? For example, Charlie Kirk was on Young Turks this week.
By the way, sorry to take that tangent. I really enjoyed that conversation. I really enjoyed that you talked to... That was like civil. You guys disagreed pretty intensely, but like there was a lot of respect. I really enjoyed that.
Thank you, brother.
That was beautiful. Yeah, you and Charlie Kirk, and I think Anna was there.
Yeah, that's right. So
it's nice.
Yeah, quick tangent. And look, I've done a lot of yelling online. Okay, and I yell when there's a issue that you should be passionate about. 40,000 people, 25,000 women and children slaughtered in Gaza. If you're not emotionally upset by that and you think it's no big deal, I think that's a problem. But when you add gaslighting on top, that's what drives me crazy. And then when you add filibustering on top, then that sets me off. So for all my life, right wing has gone on cable and filibustered. They take up so much more time than the left wing guest. And the left wing guest always goes, oh, okay, well, I'm offended. He's taking up too much time. No, brother, go over the top. Go over the top. You're not going to talk over me. I'm going to talk over you. Okay. So, and then when you gaslight and you go, oh no, 1,200 people in Israel being killed is awful, which it is. But 40,000 people being killed in Gaza is no big deal. We should keep giving them money, keep killing. And that's normal. No, it's not normal. I'm not going to let you say it's normal. That's nuts. Okay. When you like we were against the Iraq War. There was only 2 shows that were on the air nationally that were against the Iraq War, Us and Democracy Now! With Amy Goodman. And at the time, I used to yell all the time because mainstream media would gaslight the fuck out of us. We're going to be greeted as liberators. Me and Ben Mankiewicz on the air. Ben doesn't yell as much. He's now the host of Turner Classic Movies. But he's saying it in a calm way. I'm saying it in a screaming way. We're not going to be greeted as liberators. When you drop a bomb on someone's head, they don't greet you as a liberator. Stop saying insane things. And 7 out of 10 Americans thought that Saddam Hussein had personally attacked us on 9/11. We got lied into that war by corporate media. Okay. Now there's a couple of good things that Trump has done. One is get people to realize corporate media is the matrix, right? And so now, and get them to an anti-war position. He himself doesn't have an anti-war position, but his voters do, and that's a positive. We can come back to that. But these days, the reason why the Charlie Kirk conversations are going great, and Rudy Giuliani and Mike Lindell, and historically, though, go back again, 10 years, 20 years, we've always been respectful when someone comes on our show and we have a debate. As long as they're not yelling, I match the tenor of the host, right? You and I are having a reasonable conversation. I'm not raising my voice. I'm not yelling at you for no reason, right? So now when Charlie's not going to battle anymore for like talking points, I'm shutting off my mind, all I'm doing is yelling at you, then I'm going to yell back at him. But now he's saying, okay, let's have a reasonable conversation. Great. I love it. I love reasonable conversations.
It was great. It was refreshing. And what were we talking about? You buying up housing.
Yes. So Charlie, when he was on, said, hey, listen, I think that there should be a cap, though. I forget if he said 10 billion or 100 billion in assets. If you have less than that, you should still be able to do real estate as an investment, even if it's residential. But above that, it gets to, okay, that's good. No problem. We can have a debate about that. And we can figure out is the right number 10, 120, 5, no problem. You could put in reasonable limitations. But we got to get them to stop buying the homes. So when Kamala Harris says, oh, we'll stop them from buying homes in bulk, I'm like, okay, there's the loophole. And so they're going to use that loophole. And besides which, it's not going to pass. Wall Street owns the government. So there's no way corporate Republicans and Democrats, which are about 98% of politicians, are going to limit private equity. And so when do we ever get a little bit of change? When Democrats are in charge, they do 5 to 15% of their agenda. And that's not because they're warm-hearted. It's a release valve, right? Oh, see, under Obama, we got about 5% change. And what was that? That was Obamacare, right? That was most of the change that we got. And what's the greatest part of Obamacare? And now a lot of right-wing also agree. Almost all of right-wing agree about this portion, which is they got rid of a bias against pre-existing conditions. Why did they do that particularly? Because the country was about to get in a fucking rage. We all have pre-existing conditions. If you deny me when I'm sick, what the fuck's the point of insurance, right? And the anger had gotten to a nuclear level. So the release valve, get rid of pre-existing conditions. Let's go back to just milking them regularly. And oh, by the way, put in a mandate so that they have to buy it from us, right? Do you know who originally came up with Obamacare? The Heritage Foundation. It was their proposal. Romney did it in Massachusetts. It was called Romneycare. So I think this is a super important election, but I've earned the credibility to be able to say that because in 2012, I said this is a largely unimportant election. Mitt Romney and Barack Obama's policies on economic issues are near identical. Obamacare was literally Romneycare. Right now, the left says, oh, the Heritage Foundation, it's so dangerous, Project 2025. Well, brother, they're the ones who wrote Obamacare. and you say that's the greatest change in the world, right? So that's why the Democrats, I'll take the 10% change overall. I think Biden did about 15%, but Obama did 5%. But they'll also march you backwards by deregulating like Clinton did and Obama did, the bank bailouts like Obama did. But 10% is better than 0%, but it's not to help you. It's the release valve so the system keeps going.